Good morning, everybody. Sorry I didn't have my mic on. So this is a little bit of a downer video, but I feel as though maybe in the long run this will help me accomplish the goal that I'm wanting to accomplish. It's awfully early, so I'm not real mentally prepared for all of this. So, as the title states, or the description, depending on where you're checking this out, I am a disabled veteran. I'm going to share my story. Forewarning, this is not a positive story. This is not a, hey, this was so great. Oh, it's not full of valor. I would love to tell you a story of a girl who served in the military that overcame all the odds and has a story full of honor, but that's not what this story is. I grew up in a very small town in Texas. My parents were of limited means. I grew up wearing clothes that had been worn by some other generations a couple times. To say that my parents had other priorities besides being a parent would be accurate. So I found Marine Corps Junior ROTC in high school and took to it very quickly. I loved the structure. I loved everything about it. I am very proud of that time I was on varsity drill team, so forth and so on. I will try to make this story not long-winded, but I also want it to hit and to make sense. So, ROTC put the thought in my head that the military was my future. It was a way for me to get out of this rinky-dink town, away from poverty, a future. It was college, it was travel, it was a career, it was everything. And my senior year, things kind of went a little wonky with my parents, and the way that I entered the military was a little bit chaotic. And I wasn't living at home. I was kind of homeless and in a desperate situation. And it just added more desperation to me joining the military. So I went to MEPS. And those who are in the military know what MEPS is. MEPS is a processing station. It's the step that you do before you're actually in, and the day you ship off to boot camp the night before that, you go to MEPS and they give you your exam and they make sure that you're ready to go and blah blah blah, that you're physically fit. Well, the day that I had to go to MEPS, I went through the whole process, and the very last thing was I was told that I needed something called a waiver. It was not an uncommon occurrence, but it was definitely needed in order for me to get into the military, and that I was going to have to see the commander of MEPS. And as a 18-year-old girl that understood military command and authority, this was terrifying. So, without all the gruesome details, 'cause I don't think I could tell them to, I was escorted to this officer's office in the middle of the day, on a bright sunny day, in which he closed the blinds in his office and the door, and like he had done with many other girls, because he was investigated on a national level about a year later at Lackland Air Force Base in the early 2000s. Sexually assaulted me, and that was my first taste of the United States Navy. And it sexually assaulted me to the umpteenth degree. I didn't fight against him. I didn't tell him no. I didn't protest. I didn't scream out or argue. And then after the end, I was told that I wouldn't want people to know what kind of things I had to do to get into the Navy, so it would be in my best interest. So that was something that I went on believing, and I didn't tell anybody. I joined the military. I was happy that I was in and not homeless anymore. And I tried my best to forget that day. And unfortunately, these type of incidences are still going on. People that are in positions of power are using that power to take advantage of others that are much more below them. It's very sad. But anyways, so I went to boot camp. Everything was good in boot camp. Like I said, the coping skill that I had was you take that moment in time and you freeze it, and it just didn't happen. You lock that away. So after boot camp, I went to school in which I ran into another grade A personality of a person in charge, the chief there, who wasn't really anybody of importance. He just handled leave requests and like little stupid shit. He was an idiot on his way out of the military, but I was still so young and had no idea how it all worked. And at first it started off with just little comments here and there, and I would just avoid it and laugh awkwardly and walk off. Oh, ha, 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 ha. And then one day I kind of got in a bind and had to go to his office alone. And it was kind of the same scenario as the first one. Like, that's what you gotta avoid. Like, if you're in that situation or in those situations, like, you gotta like avoid like getting in the situation where you gotta go to their office. Like, that's what like I started to learn. Like, man, you gotta like never go to their office. Whew. It's the worst. But it turned into an ongoing situation with him. And it was very known that, or I believed, therapy, right? Therapy. I believed that this person